Prime-time local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. The Lloydminster Rotary Club met for their final meeting to announce where the discretionary funds will go to the community this year. The Lloydminster Region Health Foundation was the recipient of $20,000 from the club. The choice to give the money to the foundation was a timely one given the COVID-19 outbreak.
I mean, it's big bucks for the health region, and so, I mean, the Health Foundation's always something that I've been passionate about. It's local. It helps everybody. It's not restricted to a certain group or anything like that. So we all benefit. So.
Lloydminster Region Health Foundation CEO Malcolm Radke knew the funds would always be there to help any frontline staff and is still grateful for the amount of support the emergency fund still receives.
It's actually been surprisingly very well supported and from a variety of people, and obviously Stan and the entire Rotary Club, they were pretty instrumental in helping us finding PPE right when this started, and now they're giving cash, which is huge as well.
The money will be split between the COVID-19 Emergency Fund and Project Sunrise for mental health services in the community. The Thorpe Recovery Center are preparing for their annual Sober September fundraiser where participants give up a vice for 30 days. Jace Mackey spoke to Sarah Fox to learn more.
I'm joined today by Sarah Fox. She's the Development Coordinator at Thorpe Recovery Center. Thanks for taking some time to talk with me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. And so Thorpe Recovery Center is kicking off the Sober September Challenge. Can you just talk to me a little bit about what that is?
For sure. So this is our 5th year running it. And the challenge is to give up alcohol for the month of September, hence Sober September. We usually have a fun, busy summer for a lot of us, and September is a really good time to get back to routine, make some healthy changes, and why not do it while supporting a local nonprofit, us. September is also Addiction Awareness Month, so it's another great way to promote the prevalence of addictions in our communities, to show that recovery is possible, and again, fundraise for our center.
So it's happening in September. Talk to me a little bit about why the kickoff is now here at the end of June.
Well, again, we all have a very busy summer, so we're hoping to gain a little bit of momentum with the community to pique some interest. I know just with COVID-19, a lot of organizations are really in need, and we just wanted to bring to light that this is an opportunity that will come up in September, get people thinking, if they don't want to give up alcohol, they could give up another substance, and just to start to get interested. And that's why we're starting now.
And how can people get involved if they want to participate or support the cause?
If they want to participate, they can visit our website, thorperecoverycenter.org, visit our Facebook page, which would then direct you to our website, or they can contact me directly at the center.
And so the funds obviously are going towards the Thorpe Recovery Center. Can you just talk a little bit about what your center provides people?
Absolutely.
And how the money will be spent? Yeah.
For sure. So we are a nonprofit addiction treatment center. We provide medically supported detox, long-term residential treatment, which is usually about 6 weeks, continuing care, and also support programs for families. And we've been in the community since 1975. So this year we're actually celebrating our 45th. And we've been out in Blackfoot for about 8 years now. And we have a beautiful, huge facility that has 72 beds, and we're at about 45, 48 that are filled right now, which is fantastic. But being here for 8 years, we're starting to see a little bit of wear and tear on the facilities. So the funds raised this year are going to go towards capital projects. We have a beautiful garden that's being built out on our property. And also we have a few needs like new boilers, and repairs here and there just from being here for a few years and having the building settle.
And for the Sober September Challenge, is it something you guys have done in the past?
Yes, yeah. So this is our 5th year, and we're gaining success. And also another reason why we are starting early to promote is to get a little bit more interest and get more of the community involved. And it's been growing, which is fantastic.
And when someone registers and joins the Sober September Challenge, is there an amount they must contribute or kind of like a base amount, or how does that work?
No, so it's whatever you can do. Our hope is that someone at least commits to being a sober hero. That's who we call our participants, our sober heroes. And so answer the call to become one. And yeah, they can raise any amount as long as they're making a change. Is a part of the awareness part too. Share your stories on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. And I mean, if you raise $5, it's fantastic. If you raise 5,000, even better. We're game for anything. Yeah.
And I saw you with the Sober Heroes encouraging people to post it as their profile photo.
Yes.
How is important, why is it so important to kind of put that and have that awareness on social media and in our community?
Well, especially with folks not really connecting in face-to-face these days, it's all technology. We're really relying on social media. And also we can expand the breadth of the campaign, not just in Lloyd, but we can reach out to the communities that we also help across Saskatchewan, Alberta, and even in BC, and to really raise awareness all around. And because it affects 1 in 5 Canadians, everybody's affected in some way. And so by changing your profile picture to your sober hero photo, or to our will you answer the call, which is like the bat signal, which hopefully you guys will all see soon. It's hopefully just going to get some people interested in what's happening out here.
Perfect. Well, thanks for taking some time to talk with me today, Sarah, and I wish you the best in this challenge, and I hope everything goes well at Thorpe Recovery Center.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
Welcome back. Well, this time of year is typically when kids are getting prepared for summer camps that would start in the coming weeks. The COVID-19 pandemic has changed the plans of campgoers, but Pleasant View Bible Camp decided to host their camps online to keep their kids connected. Jasmine King has more.
I'm joined here with Kenton Giesbrecht, and he is the director of Pleasant View Bible Camp. Now, with the pandemic, you've had to adjust your summer camps online. Can you explain how that will work?
Yeah, it's Jasmine, it's been a strange year. Like everybody pretty much in the world has experienced how this COVID-19 has affected a lot of different situations, and definitely has affected Pleasant View Bible Camp. So we decided way back in April that we would discontinue or not have camp this summer for 2020. It's a strange thing because the camp started in 1955, and this is the first time in 65 years that we haven't been able to or felt that we should run camp. And so what we did this summer is that we've created and made some camp videos for the campers so that they can view and they can do some interaction with. So it's all going to be through YouTube, and it's all going to be online. And so that's kind of what we did for this summer for the campers.
And how, you explain that the videos will be online, but how will the online camps really work for someone who maybe clicks on a video, or what do they do?
Yeah, so fairly straightforward. All the campers are going to be emailed, and they'll be messaged different methods of how they can stream these videos. So we're going to run 4 different weeks of camp. So we're going to run our senior high camp, and so we will notify the campers about that week of camp, and then as soon as that week is completed, then those will be available on YouTube so anybody can view them. And so we're going to run, like I said, 4 weeks, senior high camp, preteen camp, junior high camps, and also the primary camp. So that's kind of what we're planning. And any campers can log into them and can watch them and can participate. It's all free and all available for anybody to get involved.
Now, I know you don't want to give too much of it away as it's still in advance, but what is some of the content, just examples that will be in these videos?
Okay, good question. We've got our camp speaker is going to be having his talk and his his and or her talk, and we're going to have the different cabin leaders kind of giving a shout out to the campers, saying how much they miss them. We're going to kind of go through some funny and goofy little skits that the cabin leaders are doing, what it's like to be at camp with no campers and how strange that is. So yeah, it's just kind of, it's going to be entertaining and fun. It's not real long each day. It's going to be 35 minutes. So it's just kind of a fun interaction for these campers to get involved in.
And why do you think it's important to keep kids involved with the camp and their religion during this time?
Yeah, it's super important for them, and maybe for their family also, to maybe get a better understanding of what camp life is like. Just to have an opportunity to hear the speakers and to understand more about what God's like and who God is and what Jesus has done for us. And so there's that opportunity for families and campers to hear more about our chapel times, and just to continue the excitement of camp and how much fun camp is and how much we miss the campers and how much we're looking forward to 2021, where I'm hoping and praying that camp continues the way it did for many, many years. So it's kind of a combination of all the above.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Kenton.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome. Thank you. And thank you so much for giving me an opportunity just to talk to you and to talk to the campers and Lloydminster, and just to let them know what's happening at Pleasant View.
Thank you.
Alberta producers will see another avenue to help offset the costs associated with cattle backlogs. With the Fed Cattle Set Aside program bid process opening up, Eric Bay has more.
The bid process is now open for the Fed Cattle Set Aside program for Alberta producers. Producers can bid to set aside cattle that are ready for slaughter for up to 9 weeks to help alleviate the backlog on the cattle industry, and also cover the costs of producers feeding that slaughter-ready cattle for extra time.
Beginning June 29th, producers who have applied will be able to participate in the bid process for the 2020 Canada-Alberta Fed Cattle Feed Cost Offset Initiative. This component is a bid process that producers can choose to participate in each week. It will occur online, and participants need an AFSC ID and an AFSC Connect account to place weekly bids.
Alberta beef producers had requested that the bid process be implemented from the start of the Fed Cattle Set Aside program, voicing concerns that too much of the money available would be spent in the feed assistance portion of the fund.
Despite the strong recommendations from industry organizations for a bid program to be implemented in July, the Alberta government has decided to make initial payments that could spend up to 30% of the funding before implementing the bid program.
Both the federal and provincial governments are continuing to encourage producers to use the Agri-Stability Fund. However, ABP still has some concerns about agri-stability.
We have been requesting a removal of the reference margin limit to make agri-stability a better option for cow-calf producers. This has not happened yet, but the deadline is approaching, and producers will have until July 3rd to enroll in agri-stability.
The bid process will continue until either all the funds are used, there's no longer a need to set aside cattle, or the date of March 31st, 2021. There have been over 130,000 cattle backlogged in Canada over the last few months. Eric Bay, Primetime Local News.
Now let's take a look at your ag prices. The ACAC and CCAA made announcements on student athlete eligibility last Friday. Joining Evan Kenny to discuss the change is Lakeland College Athletic Director Al Rogan.
Today to talk about the ACAC's latest announcement is the Athletic Director of Lakeland College, Al Rogan. Al, Thanks for taking this time.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Now, Al, the ACAC followed the lead of the CCAA and announced that the 2020-2021 season would not eat up a year of eligibility from student athletes. Just tell me quickly how the board came to this decision.
Well, the way the rules work with eligibility is that the standard needs to be set at the CCAA level. So once the CCAA made a determination that there would be no consumption of eligibility this upcoming year, just due to the fact there's a lot of unknowns still, and students have to start making decisions on whether they're going to attend post-secondary. So once the CCAA made their decision, the ACAC had made a motion earlier on in the week that said if the CCAA goes in this direction, we will follow suit. The conference really wants to make sure that in these, I guess we'll call them trying times right now for students, that just remove one less hard decision they'd have to make. Because right now we don't know how many games the season's going to be, whether or not there's going to be a national championship in any of our sports. We're hoping there still will be in our winter sports, but there's still so many unknowns right now. So if we can remove a variable saying, okay, no matter what happens this year, you won't eat up a year of eligibility, it just makes an easier decision, hopefully, for students to determine whether or not they want to attend post-secondary.
Now, Al, are other conferences going to be following the lead of the CCAA as well? Or is it up in the air still for different conferences?
I can only speak to the ACAC. We made that decision to follow suit with the CCAA. With eligibility rules, as long as you're following the minimum standard the CCAA sets, you can always be stricter then. So some conferences might decide that they might be in an area where they can possibly play an entire season of sport. So for that, they might say, well, we'll still charge a year of eligibility. But right now, with the CCAA making their decision, it puts that decision in the hands of the conferences, and each conference can decide what they believe is best for their jurisdiction.
Now, Al, if we skip ahead, look ahead to the future at the 2021-22 season, where we have some athletes repeating their 5th year of eligibility. Do you think this and the older players in the league could affect recruitment?
In regards to not having as many spots open, possibly it could impact recruitment. There's also a whole bunch of other variables that we've talked about as well, where students who are kind of delaying moving into the workforce this year, they might just say, you know what, I'm done, I'll finish my 3 or 4 courses online. So I think there's some other variables that also come into play. So will it affect it significantly? I don't think it will. I think it will impact it a little bit, but not to the level maybe some people think it might. There'll be other variables for reasons why student athletes don't return to post-secondary next year if they don't go this year. And some student athletes, they might use this year to finish off their educational pursuit and decide to move into the workforce next year, whether they have a year left or not. So 5 years is a long time to play in post-secondary. So, and some people just want to move on and start working.
Now, Al, taking a look at a little bit of a different category here, the scheduling for the ACAC, obviously the fall sports are no longer taking place in fall, but rather in the spring, and multi-semester sports are going to be starting in the new year in 2021. Just looking at the multi-semester sports, how much of the season are you guys planning on cutting out from the regular season?
Well, when we had our meeting last week, the hope is that we're able to get at least a half a season in. So normally what happens is the teams that play a full year, they play half their season in the first semester, then half their season in playoffs in the second semester. So, our hope is that we'll still be able to complete the second half of the schedule. There's a few variables that come into play. There still some institutions that might decide they're not going to compete this year. Like the U of A, for example, they determined there will be no second semester sports in their full year sports. So that might happen with some ACAC institutions as well. If that happens, there might be a rejigging of the schedule a little bit, but hopefully, they'll be able to get at least, half of the games, so 12 games before the playoffs, and then the playoffs as well. So that's our goal as a conference, is to maximize the amount of competitive experiences in the second semester if, you know, Alberta Health and our institutions are going to allow that to happen, right? Once again, a lot of unknowns still out there. We're hoping for the best. So.
And then finally, looking ahead to the spring, are you looking to do a full semester worth of sports for those, I guess, what would normally be the fall sports in the spring? Are you hoping that they would still have a full season, or would that be a half season as well?
Right now, they're talking about going into the month of May and possibly into June with some of these, with soccer and cross country, those two sports that we have. So that's the hope. It comes with a few challenges potentially with students determining whether or not they want to stay around or whether or not they're willing to compete in a spring semester. But the hope is that we'll be able to put something together. There was a first draft that went out. There was some concerns around the first draft. So hopefully in the next week or so, we'll see a second draft so that, you know, we can get that in the hands of the coaches, and then the student athletes can once again make decisions on the information they have before them.
Al, I appreciate you taking this time. Thank you for giving us the insight.
Thanks a lot for having me once again.
Hello everybody, we're joined once again by Becca Lawrence this week. She is the Community Outreach Manager for the Lloydminster and District SPCA. How are you doing today, Becca?
Oh, pretty good. And yourself?
I'm doing great, thank you. So who do we got here? Who's this cute little kitten who's come to visit us this week?
The energetic guy is Otis. He came into the shelter with a little bit of sore eyes. He had a condition called entropion. So that's where the eyelashes are growing on the inside of the eyelid. So he was in a bit of pain and he was a sore little guy. But now that he's got it fixed up and everything, which the community really helped us a lot with, and everybody donated towards his eye surgery, so that was really nice. And now he's, as you can see, he's a pretty happy, want to be adventuring everywhere kind of guy now.
Well, that's great to hear. And you did mention it too, Becca, but obviously you guys are a charity organization, which means that when you guys want to, you know, do things like give these kittens, these dogs, these, you know, life-changing surgeries, those are all, you know, donation-based, right, obviously. So, I mean, you guys are always looking for donations for medical expenses, correct?
Yes, yeah, that's what our sick and injured animal fund is. So, you know, all of the money that is donated directly towards that goes right towards exactly that. Like, it's not even for spay and neuters. It's for, like, you know, when he comes in with entropion, or, you know, some animal comes in with a broken leg or needs an amputation, all those types of surgeries, that's what that account is for.
Mm-hmm. So obviously that's super important, and you guys, you know, need a constant influx of donations to keep those up. So, you know, anybody out there listening who wants to, you know, help keep an animal healthy and safe can obviously make a donation to you guys. And as well, we were talking a little bit off camera that you guys have had a recent influx of kittens come in, and that you guys are looking for some people to help foster some of these animals. So do you want to kind of tell the people your situation going on currently, Becca?
Yeah, like, you know, we just, obviously it's kitten season, so that's, we were expecting it, you know, kind of thing. But we really would love to have some more fosters. I mean, majority of the staff has kittens at home that they're taking care of. I mean, even Zoe here, she has 2 different litters that she's taking care of at home right now. So we really do count on our fosters as well for those kittens that are just too young to be up on the adoption floor right now. And then just, you know, obviously that they just can get out of the shelter and away from, you know, away from anything that could potentially get them sick, or just, again, just being in the space that, you know, another sick or adult cat to take up another kennel kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. So obviously that would be a great option, you know, for somebody who might, you know, want a little companionship, but maybe can't have, you know, a pet long term. Would be a great, you know, compromise for them in that type of situation. And we're also talking about, you guys have an event coming up, which is great, because I know it's been a little while since we've been able to, you know, get people together and things like that. So you were mentioning to me earlier about a Canada Day event that you guys have going on.
Yeah, so the shelter is closed on actual Canada Day, but from the 2nd until the 4th, we're having an adoption event. So here at the SPCA, we have a big wheel that you can spin, and you can get a discounted price, or you could even get it completely free for an animal adoption. We're gearing it more again towards our cats and kittens, and then we even have a couple rabbits and a couple guinea pigs in our care. So they are all qualifying for this. We just don't have that many dogs up for adoption, so they typically are the same adoption fee. But we'll also have that option at PetSmart as well. They'll have a little tiny wheel there to get that same deal going on. And yeah, so just currently right now, like it is, especially at PetSmart, it is cash only. Our one machine is a little bit on the fritz, so it's cash only here as well too for now. But yeah, we're just really doing it to try and get a lot of the kittens and adult cats that we do have in our care right now homes for Canada Day.
Well, that's great to hear, Becca. And so obviously you mentioned you guys have a lot of cats, you have a few bunnies, a few guinea pigs, and you said you have a few dogs left. What do you have for dogs, just in case anybody out there is, looking for their a canine companion?
Yeah, we have a couple like pit bull crosses, so they are a little bit of special needs in the sense that they are basically dogs that need special care. So we have one that we think she would be good with other dogs, and it might give her the confidence to be okay with a little more confidence in a family. Like she's just a little bit more leery of people initially, and then we have another one where she loves people. Everybody that comes near her, she's happy to say hello, but she really just can't be around any other animals, unfortunately. So it's a bit tough to find her a home as well too. But yeah, they are the pit bull crosses, and then we have a husky cross right now as well too. So and they're all on our website. They're listed there as well on LloydMinsterSPCA.com.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Becca. So once again, everybody, if you want to stop by and see some of the kitties, you guys are having your Canada Day event. So certainly stop by and say hello, maybe make a donation, maybe pick up a pet, whatever feels right in the moment, I suppose. But yes, thank you for speaking with us once again, Becca, and we will have you back next week.
All right, perfect. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Happy to be joined by a familiar face here to many of you today. Noah Reed joins us today. Noah, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to speak with us.
Well, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Now, Noah, most people will know you from Schitt's Creek. You played Patrick on there, and the series unfortunately just ended. A lot of the fans I know are disappointed that we don't have the chance to watch it anymore, other than if we decide to rewatch the series. But you've been busy now because you have this duality. You're an actor and you're a singer. Tell me about the album that you released back in February.
Released in May, on May 29th, on my 33rd birthday. It's called Gemini, and it's a project that I've been working on closely with my friend Matt Barber for some time. Sorry, there's a fly trying to hijack my interview here. But yeah, it's my second record, and a lot of I don't know. It seemed like a strange time to be releasing a record, but it's sort of how we had planned to roll it out, and it didn't feel quite right to pause it or to hold off. My feeling was that if there was any way to put this music out during this time where people are sort of making big adjustments and staying home and sort of scrambling for any sense of normality, then that would be some kind of contribution I could make, and it would certainly free up some creative space for myself. So I'm glad to have it out, and I'm glad that people are finding it and listening to it. I'm very proud of it.
Tell me about the songs and the songwriting process. Was it basically you and Matt, or did you kind of take over, or how did it work? Was it a very much a collaborative effort?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've written those songs over the course of many years, and largely to do, I think on this record, there's a lot of songs that sort of deal with my life as an actor and the ups and downs of the the unpredictable entertainment industry, and also, it covers a period of time where I met my now fiance. We're getting married against all odds in a few weeks now, and so a lot of love songs, and then a lot of songs of sort of, you know, difficulty getting through tough times, which feel relevant for the current time. So I wrote those songs and took them to Matt, who is an excellent songwriter and singer and musician himself, and he helped me produce my first record, Songs from a Broken Chair. And so we took 2 weeks in the studio about a year and a half ago to record, I think, about 17 songs, and 12 of them made the record. And Matt's an incredible producer, and just has a really soft touch. Hears the music in a beautiful way and really facilitated the whole thing. So I was very pleased to get to work with him again, and we're good pals. And so, it becomes a lot more collaborative once you're in the studio. The songwriting is a sort of an isolated process, but yeah, it all sort of comes together. You need other people to get things done, as it turns out.
What's it like for you when you release this music and you release it out to the world and you aren't sure how people are going to react to it? Is it kind of an unnerving process?
It can be. I think if you let too many of those doubts enter your head, you can get yourself in trouble. But I had the feeling that, you spend so much time with these things, and there's so much quality control over the course of, the long process that you're sort of working on these things, and so I felt, that I had at least a good shot of communicating what I had hoped to communicate with these songs, and the songs sort of tell you what they want to be if you're listening close enough. So. Yeah, it can be a little strange to let go of them. I mean, but I think that's a part of the process that can be quite beautiful, is giving over control and saying, okay, I've done my work on them, and now they belong to you as a listening public. And if there's something in there for you, then amazing.
Now, normally, Noah, you'd be able to go out and do a tour, but obviously things are a little bit different now. So how do you deal with that? And I know you've been doing some appearances and some things like speaking with us via Skype, but it's going to be a while, I think, before we can kind of get back to a place where musicians do what musicians do. So how do you handle that when you can't tour to promote the album?
Yeah, well, I was in the middle of my first time out tour when COVID really struck back in early March. We were playing a show in Chicago and on our way to Boston, and we never got there. We headed back to Toronto, and the tour was sort of postponed indefinitely. And I agree with you. It looks like it'll be a while before we can get back out. Certainly in North America, and likely in Europe too. But it's, these are ever-changing times, and everybody's sort of figuring out how that works. I think it's likely that I'll get back in the studio before I get back on the road, but it's hard to say. You just try to keep up with the news and how things are trending, and hope for the best. And certainly technology in these times, it's been interesting to play some of these shows. I played last night on Twitch, Amazon Music concert, and about 16 and a half thousand people tuned in to watch an hour-long set. So that's a bigger room than I would play normally. So I'm glad that there's an opportunity to reach people in some way. It's certainly a strange way to do things, and I'm far from an audio technician, so I'm sure it's not exactly up to snuff, technically speaking, but it's fun nonetheless, and it's interesting to challenge yourself in these different times.
Well, Noah, thank you again for taking the time to talk to us today, and congratulations on the album Gemini. One last question that I have to ask, because everybody's been asking, will we see a reunion for Schitt's Creek, or perhaps a movie? Is there any chat about that right now?
No chat so far, but I think it's a question we've all been asked quite a bit. So hopefully Dan and Eugene are listening to that, and I hope that if it feels right, that it's something that we'd all be open to. Certainly, we had an incredible time making the show, and I think this year, around this time, we'd have finished shooting the sixth season, and so through this interesting time period, I've certainly missed being on set with those people, and And if it felt right, I'd be open to it again. But I'm not the one holding the cards there, I'm afraid.
All right. Well, again, good luck with everything happening here in the future. I know it's a strange time for everybody, but thank you again for talking to us today. And as I said, we wish you much luck with everything that you do in the future.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me.
All right, taking a look at your 7-day forecast here. Tomorrow we should have a nice 21-degree day there. A little bit of cloud coverage for Canada today as we head into Thursday, 21 degrees as well with mostly sun and a few clouds there. We get into Friday, we should have clear skies and a high of 24 degrees. 22 degrees on Saturday, 23 on Sunday, 22 on Monday, and 21 on Tuesday, excuse me. We usually average around 22 degrees for this time of year with an average low of 10 degrees.